Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of the Split Screen Podcast. I am your host, Chris Garcia. It's lovely to have you here this day, evening, night. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe. And let's just get started with the show. Okay, before we get started with the show, I'll get this out of the way. Yes, it's been a while since I've made an episode. I know. It's been weird lately, but you know what? We're gonna get back into this thing. Excuse me. And we're gonna do the dang thing. A lot has happened since the last episode, and if you want to listen to the previous episodes, we are all over the place on Spotify. You can look us up, Split Screen Podcast. And if you want to follow the podcast on social media, if you have that, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook, you can look us up, leave us a follow or a like. It's Split Screen Podcast. We are on Twitter and Instagram. Both of those are SplitScreenKC. I'd love to hear from you on those pages. Give me topic suggestions, things like that. You know the drill. And if you want to follow me personally, your host, your humble host, Chris Garcia, you can look me up on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on there, KCCHRISG. You can also send me some topic suggestions there. Send me your thoughts on the show's topics. Let me know if I'm right, if I'm wrong, if I got something wrong. You send me some love, send me some hate mail. Do what you do. That being said, let's get into the show. Split Screen Podcast, episode 17. This might be a short one, just to get that out of the way, but I wanted to discuss something that debuted recently, and that's the Halo trailer for the TV series that will be streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus starting March 24th, 2022. Is it going to be enough for me to get a subscription to that? Probably not. We'll see, though. Maybe when all the episodes are on there, I might get it. But so here's the thing. I try to look at both sides of most things, right? And I try not to judge. Sometimes I don't think that way, such as if you like pineapple on pizza, I don't look at the other side of that. It's just wrong and you're wrong. And I'm not sorry. But I'm going to be doing that just a little bit here. Just a little bit, just a smidge. So from what I've seen, the reception to the trailer, which premiered during the AFC Championship game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. R.I.P. Chiefs, by the way. But good luck to Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. It's going to be good. The reception to the trailer has been, to say the least, mixed. So, with that being said, let me give you what I thought, just a little bit. So the action in the trailer looks promising. It looks okay. It looks good. The suit that the Master Chief wears looks great. It looks better than I thought it would. I'll give it that. The weapons look cool. They look good, especially the battle rifle. that looks awesome. And they did a surprisingly great job with the presentation and the looks of the elites, the Sangheili boys. I'm not sure how the story will unfold in this series, but it has to follow the basic premise of the games, right? At least that's what people are saying. All we know is in the story he has to find the ring and end the war. I don't see this war ending in just one series. Do you know how long? The war didn't end for 3 games. And technically it's still not over, but that's something else. Let me bring up a few concerns that have been mentioned by the fans and potential viewers of the show. that I've seen repeatedly, multiple times, across multiple platforms, comments sections on articles on websites, on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, across YouTube videos, everything. The first thing is the voice of the main man himself, the mean green fighting machine. Steve Downes is not returning to voice the Master Chief. He's not reprising his role this time around. People have a problem with that. People say he is Master Chief. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I don't know. You can make a case for both sides. He's been playing the Master Chief for 20 years now. But and you can even make the case that they could have given him the Darth Vader treatment. Just like, wow, now I'm going to blank on his name as soon as I'm talking about him. James Earl Jones. He provided the voice for Darth Vader, but it was a different actor under the mask, under the helmet. You could have made the argument that they could have done the same thing here, especially with Jen Taylor reprising her role as Cortana. I don't know. We don't know what happens behind the scenes. We don't know if maybe they did ask Steve Downes to reprise his role. I don't know if that information's out there already, and I apologize if it is, but we are going to have to get used to a new guy, a new voice under the helmet that we've never heard before, and so I think it's going to take some people some time to adjust to that idea, especially when the first episode airs. I feel like it's going to get more negative feedback than it deserves because things are going to be changed in this series. People have an issue with how he sounds, and I'll agree with this. I will agree with that. To me, it sounds like... Well, okay, let me preface this by saying this. In the Halo games, he sounds like he would if he weren't wearing a helmet. And was that ever a problem? No, it was never a problem. I didn't even think about it. He said very little anyway. But for the TV series, they made it sound like he's speaking through some sort of tube, right? Like you remember when you're kids, or maybe even as an adult like me, when you're done with a roll of paper towels and you have the little roll inside, you speak through it. It kind of sounds like that. It changes the voice a little bit. And that's exactly what he sounds like. Or, the little vacuum cleaner tube that you attach to the hose or the suction hose thingy, I don't know what the hell it's called, to reach tight spaces or high up spaces. I see a lot of people use it to get in crevices and cobwebs in the corner. It sounds like he's speaking through one of those in his helmet. I get why they did it. They wanted to make it sound like he's wearing a helmet and like he's communicating through a helmet. I fully understand the logic, but I just think it was an unnecessary logic, which tells me that maybe they're going for a hyper-realistic version of the Halo franchise, which might not be the best idea. Maybe things are going to be a little too realistic in this. Right? I mean, this is a sci-fi military action series. Maybe even some drama sprinkled in. Am I expecting over realism in a series like this? No. Do I expect realism in a Halo series period? Absolutely not. So the fact that they thought that they needed to make him sound like he really is speaking through that helmet is kind of a red flag in my opinion. And it tells me to be cautious when you start watching this. Just something about it makes me feel off. But I don't know. Is that a problem to you? Let me know. The next point that I wanted to cover was Cortana. She's been a big focal point in people's feedback. The original voice actress Jen Taylor returns in the flesh this time to not only voice her again, but to portray her in live action. She is Cortana. Not just the voice, but she actually is the AI in this series. So that's kind of cool. Also, fun fact, she has voiced many other beloved characters, such as Princess Peach and Toad from the Mario series, along with Zoe from Left 4 Dead 2. Or no, sorry, Left 4 Dead 1, excuse me. Who I always played as, by the way. She's a badass. Anyway, so people are complaining, and this is something that I don't really find a problem with, but people are complaining that she isn't blue enough. Because in the games, she's always been blue. I think in the first game, she was kind of a shade of purple, but in every other game, she's been blue. Her face blue, hair blue, body blue. But in this, she's not as blue. She's got like a blue tint to her. But her hair isn't blue like how it was in the games. And her face, like her skin, isn't blue. And actually looks more human than she has ever looked. And people are complaining about that. Now here's my gripe with the complainers about that. One, it makes me think that you're just really you're really afraid of change, even if it's in tiny things like that, like the shade of someone. And you can argue, but Chris, you just complained about the voice of Master Chief sounding different. And yeah, you're probably right. But I would say that's a bigger issue since he's the main character as opposed to Cortana, even though she is a big player in the series. You're just complaining about her skin character, or her skin tone, rather. This is literally the same voice of Cortana, just with different skin color. What's the big deal? I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, what do you want? Do you want her to be part of the Blue Man Group? Like, come on, man. You'll get over it. It'll be fine, I think. The fact that they even got Jen Taylor to come back for this is enough for me, for Cortana. So, and last but certainly least, a damn 2001 Chevy Tahoe is seen in the background of one of the trailers during an action sequence. In the trailer, if you haven't seen it yet, please do watch the trailer and see if you can spot it somewhere in there in the background. It's pretty funny. I didn't see it the first time, and then I started seeing memes about it. And so I had to do some research on it, and yeah, there's a Chevy Tahoe in there, and I don't know what it's doing in there. I'm not sure if it's going to be left in the background of the series when it releases, or if it's maybe a mistake. Maybe the trailer, maybe that's one of the things they haven't had done by the time the trailer released, and that's just kind of like a placeholder for, I don't know, maybe like a warthog or something like that. I don't know. But people have been freaking out about that. If it's actually left in the series, then yeah, that does draw some concern. But I don't think they're dumb enough to leave it in the background and release the series with it, because that's a huge flaw in terms of, what am I trying to say? Not historical accuracy, but, like futuristic accuracy, considering that this game takes place, or the series and the games take place in the 2500s, and that's a 2001 vehicle. So that would be a problem. But, and I think I'm almost done with this episode, because, there's really not much to talk about for a trailer, but I'll sort of end it with this, and I kind of have one more thing to talk about after this, but I won't go super long about it. But what I want to say is I think people need to change their state of mind about this series, right? This is a show based on the games, but it's not canon. It's in a different universe. And with that being said, it's being told in a different format, in a different medium, live action, right? As opposed to animated like the games are and motion captured, but it won't be based on the exact same story from the games. It's going to be inspired by the games. That's what I'm expecting, but you shouldn't expect to see the same exact story. And I've seen people asking, I wish this was just a retelling of the original trilogy. And I get it, because the original trilogy is amazing. The story is fantastic. But with them expecting a carbon copy of the game's stories, doesn't that bring up the question of why would you make a series about that story when it's already been told through many years of games that were made 20 years ago, right? It's already been told through those games, starting 20 years ago. Look at the MCU, for instance, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Those stories are inspired by comics that told basically the same story, right? But the movies were almost never, if they ever were, exact copies of the source material that they were inspired and driven by. And this will be no different. You can count on many differences in this series compared to the games, with characters, story elements, locales, things like that, weapons, etc., but with some familiarity sprinkled in every now and again. Captain America Civil War told a story about the Avengers fighting each other, which is what happened in the storyline, in the comics, in the original runs, but other than that, it was pretty different. Did people complain about that? No. Well, in some capacity they did, but for the most part, it's a beloved movie. It holds up to this day. It's up there with the top MCU movies. But my point being, there were major differences from or between the two stories. Two different stories inspired by the same thing. This Halo series will dive into the character of the Master Chief like the games never did. At least that's what I'm hoping for. And when I say that, I mean I'm expecting it to characterize him in almost how the books did, where he showed more emotion, you knew his thoughts in more detail than the games ever expressed and showed him. So what I'll say is we need to go into this series with an open mind and enjoy the story for what it really is. A military sci-fi action adventure with more humanity brought to the front of many more characters, both new and old, than we've seen in the games before. And who knows, you might just like it that way. In a TV series, it's character driven. It's not like the games where the only reason Master Chief said very little was because the developers of the game wanted you to feel like you were Master Chief, right? You can't do that with this. You can't get away with that in a TV series. So they're going to switch that up, and we're going to get more details about the Master Chief, and I hope they kind of dive into more of his history, into why he is the way he is, like the books did. The Fall of Reach did an amazing job telling that story, and I'm hoping they kind of explain that a little bit in this series. So the only two things stopping this from being great, in my opinion, are your personal expectations on what you think it should be rather than what it is. And let's be real, modern day writing. That we have no control over, but that's a whole other topic for another episode, perhaps. But the bottom line is that modern day writing sucks, and it's ruined basically everything. It's ruined video games, it's ruined movies, it's ruined TV series, it's ruined everything. So has refinement culture, but I'll have Nate talk about that the next time he's over. By the way, shout out to Nate, shout out to Alex, shout out to JD, shout out to Savage. I got to get the boys in here, you know that. But I mean, what are your thoughts on the Halo series trailer? It's premiering exclusively on Paramount Plus starting March 24th, 2022. Let me know if you're going to watch it. Do you have Paramount Plus? And if not, are you going to be purchasing a subscription to Paramount Plus specifically to watch this show? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Let me know your likes, dislikes, concerns for the show from the trailer. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. You can hit me up on those social media pages. And the other thing that I wanted to briefly touch on is there's a rumor going around. Speaking of Halo, and speaking of just Xbox franchises in general, there's rumors going around that an Xbox or a Microsoft franchise is getting the Master Chief Collection treatment, which is to say that it's getting multiple games remastered and bundled into one game. The Master Chief Collection has Halo Reach, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, 3, 4, and Halo 3 ODST. Halo 1 Anniversary and Halo 2 Anniversary were on there. Everything else was the same, but they remastered Halo 2 for the Master Chief Collection. And they bundled up a lot, basically up to that point, all of the Halo series until Halo 5 came out. So there's rumors going around that there's a series getting that same treatment that will maybe feature one or two remastered games and have multiple other ones bundled in with it. There's rumors about it that are saying that it's Gears of War. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor right now. That being said, I pray to God, I pray to whatever you believe in, that that's the case here. If you know me in real life, even if you know me through listening to the show, you know that I have loved Gears of War since it first came out. And when you think about it, it's kind of gone through the same roller coaster that Halo has gone through. We'll start with Halo. Halo 1 through 3, beloved trilogy, told an amazing story, focused on one character's struggles throughout. And you play as that character through the entire series. And then they kind of released a prequel where you play as someone different, that being Halo Reach. And then they released sequels after that, Halo 4 and 5. Both of those not very well received, especially Halo 5. Halo 4, I feel like, has kind of been received better now, years after its release, than it did when it first came out. But for the most part, those two weren't received too well. But Halo Infinite kind of course-corrected the series a little bit. And kind of returned it to form, so to speak. Now, it's not perfect, but it's on the right path. At least, I'm hoping. So let's switch it over to Gears now. Gears 1 through 3, beloved trilogy. You follow one main character that you play as throughout the entire trilogy, Marcus Phoenix, and his squad mates. And you grow a connection with him, right? But after that, they release a prequel, just like Halo Reach. It's called Gears Judgment, where you play as a different character. This time you play as Damon Baird. Halo Reach, you play as Noble Team. More specifically, Noble 6. So, you see the pattern here? You get an amazing trilogy with a prequel. That changes things up a little bit, right? And now we have 2 sequels. Gears 4 and Gears 5. Now I'll give it credit. Halo 4, you play as Master Chief, but in Gears 4 you play as someone else. You play as JD Phoenix, his son, Marcus Phoenix's son. Halo 5, they crapped all over us and threw in Fireteam Osiris. No one gave a single damn about Fireteam Osiris. And you know what the kicker is about that? Is you played as them for like 70% of the game. They pushed Master Chief to the side in a Halo game. Can you believe that? In a main installment Halo game. You get to play as Master Chief for like 3 or 4 missions, and then the rest are Fireteam Osiris, Spartan Locke. Now that was a tragedy. But they switched characters on you. They did that early in Gears 4. Albeit, I'll say this. Gears 4, I would have liked playing as JD Phoenix if they would have kept it the same in Gears 5, but they didn't. They did what they did to Master Chief in Gears 5 to JD Phoenix. They pushed him to the side and made Kate the main character of that story. So here's to hoping that they pull a Halo Infinite. Maybe Gears Infinite is the next game. And they can kind of correct it a little bit. But what I'm saying here is that we deserve a Gears of War Master Chief Collection-esque game. We deserve a Gears of War collection, or you could even call it the Marcus Phoenix collection if we're sticking with that. Or, I mean, I think they would be better off just calling it the Gears of War collection as opposed to Master Chief collection, because, I don't know, Master Chief collection just rings better, and so does the Gears of War collection. But you get what I'm saying. We have Gears of War Ultimate Edition already, which was a remaster of Gears 1. And people have been asking for Gears 2 Ultimate Edition for quite a while, myself included, because for some people that was their favorite in this series, and I think it might be up there with mine too. It's a toss-up between 1 and 2 for me. But we have to have a remaster of that game. The Coalition did a fantastic job on Ultimate Edition for Gears 1. They redid the cutscenes, and they made gameplay more fluid and smooth, and I think that we would greatly benefit from that with Gears of War 2 in the story that it tells. It would be fantastic. So you can also let me know on socials. Is this something that you would be interested in? If you are a fan of Gears, or if you've played any of the Gears games, or maybe you haven't played them at all, would Gears of War Trilogy, or Gears of War Collection, rather, would that make you play the Gears of War games? Would that make you go back to the franchise? And also, I guess, let me know what you're hoping with Gears 6. Because there's been some changes at the Coalition in terms of studio heads leaving, changes in personnel, things like that. So let me know. What do you hope for from Gears 6? And if there was a Gears of War collection, would you buy it or would you play it? I'm sure it would be on Game Pass. So let me know. Let the page know. If you message any of the social media pages, you're talking to me. No one else is really involved with this show. So if you want to let me know any of your thoughts on today's topics, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. You can let me know on Facebook, Split Screen Podcast. Let me know on Twitter, Instagram. Both of those are SplitScreenKC. SplitScreenKC. But that's it for today. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you listen to the whole show, then you are a boss, you are a legend, and I love you from the bottom of my heart. Anyway, follow the page, follow me if you want to. Send me some love, some hate mail, whatever you got to do. KCCHRISG on Twitter and Instagram. And give me suggestions on what else you want me to talk about or any other news that you would like to hear. But that's it. That's the show. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful evening. Please stay safe, and I will see you next time. Cheers from snowy Kansas City. I'll see you guys next time.